Hi guys, this is Tony here from Metal Roos. You're about to sit down and enjoy an interview I just did um, over there, and so do like and subscribe so you can get all this straight into your streaming and into your consciousness as soon as it arrives. So enjoy the interview, and I will. Over to you, Tony. Welcome to Metal Ruse. Thank you for coming in and chatting with us about your new album, which is Game of Faces. Faces. I wrote my handwriting's terrible. Um, which is I did listen. I've listened to it. In fact, I just stopped listening to it about a minute ago. Um, it's your. I can't believe it's your ninth studio album.
Me neither.
That's crazy. It's crazy how that's. I mean, does it feel like it's flown by? I mean, you've been around a long time now, it seems, but it feels like yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's definitely pretty hard to comprehend the amount of years. It makes no sense to you. I mean, it feels a little bit like yesterday. At the same time, it feels like it was a very long time ago. Strange feeling.
Yeah, it is.
Um,
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, we started this band with we were very young. I was very young. I think I was 19 when we recorded the very first album.
Wow.
We had no clue what we were doing. We were just doing stuff that we thought was exciting at the time. But here we are 9 albums later, and yeah, still almost the same group of guys.
I was going to
And
say, very stable lineup, very stable for a band of your time. That's really good, you know.
yeah, I mean, for the past 12 years now, the same lineup, and
That's amazing.
yeah.
That's a pat on the back to you guys because that's not easy to do in a
No, no,
creative
and
environment.
it's not very common either.
No, no, no,
Um,
it certainly is not.
no,
People are transient in our industry, aren't they? They come and go,
yeah,
unfortunately, you know. But
yeah,
this new album is a cracker, man, an absolute cracker. Like, I absolutely loved it from beginning to end. I know that your sound changed. It has had changes through its history. You've gone from sort of hard rock, heavy metal, and power. You know, it's all had its sort of flows, but it feels like it's really culminated in this album. It
yeah.
feels, yeah, yeah, really polished. I mean, your stuff is always polished, but it feels really polished when you listen to it. It's got a
Well,
lot of,
it's yeah, it's we hear that a lot. People are usually using that kind of description, like so polished and so well worded, and it's great to hear because we put a lot of effort into making this stuff, and for us it's very much a craft that we've learned and owned over the years. And it's also interesting what you said, like the flows of our musical history, if you will.
mm,
Um, I think like it's like ebbs and flows. A lot of stuff that we did early on in our career, it starts to come back at a
yeah,
later stage,
yeah,
like mixing together with other influences. But I still think, it's very much sounds a lot like us, like
mm,
Dynasty, and um, it's just I think we have a pretty broad musical identity. There's a lot of stuff there that we can dive back into or explore further, and blend together with stuff that we've done in recent years. Um, so yeah, a lot of things definitely came full circle with this particular album.
yeah.
I'd
I
say.
think so. I listened back to some of your other albums and enjoying them as you go, but then I put this one on and it felt a companion to your other albums, but also feels ever so slightly um, I don't know, not saying mature because you've been around a long time, but it's got a slightly more um, razzmatazz to it. Do you know what I mean? Like
Right.
it's a bit more dazzling, if that's the
Yeah.
right word for it. Like I'm sorry, some of the songs in this album, I had to make a note because I was like blown away by the devilry of ecstasy, right? Firstly,
Right.
I absolutely love that title. I think that if I'd written that, I'd go, I retire. Like, it's so clever and it's such a catchy number. it's so groovy.
Right.
And I just like, oh, so I put a big square around it because I've kept going back to that one particular track on the
Yeah.
album. Yeah, but it's a long album. It's not like an album. You've put a lot of effort into this. I mean, what is it? 12 track? Am I right? 12 tracks?
11.
11. Sorry, I don't mean to
Yeah.
do you one more, but 11. It's a lot of work involved
Sure. I
in
mean,
this.
yeah, and like you said, like the dazzling
Mm.
thing that you mentioned, or the razzmatazz or whatever. Uh, I think there was an extra edge when we were making this album because we wrote it during a time period when we were touring a lot, and
Ah,
just coming out of this whole COVID era, and
mm.
when all the restrictions were lifted and all that momentum that you got going from actually being out there on the roads again and playing a lot of shows and playing festivals and seeing all these people being really enthusiastic about being able to go to concerts again. And I think that just gave us like an extra sort of push when writing this. And I think in general the album is very live oriented in many ways. It feels very much like one of those, like a band getting together and jamming out songs, and then polishing them a
Yeah,
lot,
because
obviously.
yeah, because
But but
it
it
has that
has that
live.
kind of
Yeah,
edge to it, and I think that's definitely a reflection of the time period when we've been writing this album, for sure.
because there's a lot of energy. Obviously, your music's full of energy. It's like the beat that your sort of DNA is energy, right? Your vocals are astounding, and then you have this energy behind you, which a stable energy as well. Like you said, 12 years, stable energy, where you can sort of rely on each other, not have to worry about what he's doing, what he's doing. You just get on and connect, and it feels. I mean, I hate the word stadium, but it has a feeling that you'd play at a festival. It's got a
Right.
festival vibe kind of sound to it. A lot of real energy, which is what you get from big stadiums, like that
Sure,
big
and I
crowd.
mean, definitely, and we've been feeding off that for the past
Mm,
couple of years. So for sure, and like you mentioned, like this stable sort of chemistry within the band,
mm.
that's definitely something that is very um, something that you can also feed off of when you're writing, or if everything feels so natural. And this is one of the reasons why we have been the same group of people for so many years now, is because everybody's pulling in the same direction.
Yes.
We're all everybody's working towards the same kind of goal, and not only that, we're all also from the beginning we've been great friends for a long time. So it's communication and everything is very simple, and that just definitely gives it an extra level of stability and chemistry when writing music and when playing music live, obviously.
I think that you hit the nail on the head there. The chemistry live. I mean, the chemistry of the album. I mean, we all know bands. We've listened to them where you can almost hear that they don't want to be. It almost comes across in their music. They're not
Right,
enjoying what they're doing. But here, like I put it on. It's just I smiled, Niels, and that listening to your music made me smile. And it's a very rare thing in life these days to have a good smile, enjoy it, and just get into it because it's not it's not politically orientated. It's just rock and roll.
right.
For me anyway. But I don't know. You might have stories behind obviously all the songs that you wrote, but for me, just rock and roll. And at its core, right deep down, it's toe tapping, head banging rock and roll, right? And I think that,
Right.
and I
Yeah.
think that's what's missing a lot of times, Niels, with a lot of modern metal, particularly modern rock and roll metal. It's all lovely, don't get me wrong. I love
Too
that
too
19-minute
serious?
song. Too serious. Thank you. Yeah, look, don't get me wrong. There's
Yeah,
all there's time for that. There's
of
time for that.
course. I
Of
mean,
course.
there's room and time and place for
Yeah.
everything, and
Yeah.
but definitely, I think I agree with you. It is missing a little bit that kind of fun factor, or that
Yes.
kind of like careless energy moving forward type
Yes.
of hard rock. And this
Yeah.
was and this was something that when we were writing this album, we I was thinking like this could be one of those albums, like when I think of British Steel with Judas Priest, it's
Oh,
one of those very like, it's so cohesive. It's like this is the British Steel album, and it doesn't sound really like any other Judas Priest album, but it's
Right.
so much Judas Priest, and it's just like from the start to the finish, it's so cohesive and just fits together all the songs. And so this is a little bit of the game plan that we had early on when writing this album. Let's make it one of those albums from start to finish. It's just, let's up the fun factor, let's up the tempos, the aggressiveness a little bit, and still
Yeah.
keep it fun and kind of lighthearted.
Yeah.
Towards the end of writing the album, we thought that, hey, let's write maybe one or two songs that are a little bit more like this. Hence the ballad, if you will, "Dream of Spring," which was one of the final songs written for the album, to just
Mm.
give it, a little
Balance.
a dynamic edge and a little bit
Mm.
more balance.
Mm.
But other than that, it's just a very, like you said, a fun album that makes you smile and makes you feel good when listening to it. If you like this kind of music.
Yeah, well, exactly right. I mean, I'm an old man now, and a 16-year-old in me came racing out when I put the album on. Like
Right,
it was like suddenly because we want to be young again, right? I mean, we just don't want to get, we want to keep that youth, that spark. And when I heard it, I was like, yeah, God, it almost reminded me when I very first heard Guns N' Roses' first album, right? I was at school, I was a teenager, I was 16, and I was like, this is wow, and that fire that you get from
right,
really good rock and roll is what you get from this
yeah,
album. Yeah, I mean it. Like it's toe tapping, and I'm making it sound like um, it's just so enjoyable, mate. And
right.
every aspect of it,
Uh,
the guitars, the drum, the bass, the vocals, the lyric, and I said that, die to survive, free to fight, just great, great energy. And
right.
and I think
Well, yeah,
you
I'm very glad to hear
mm,
this because this is exactly, I think, what we try to capture with this album, and it just also organically just what came out of us at this point is what we wanted to write. Therefore, we wrote it, and I think also I agree with you. The world needs a little bit more of this every
yes,
now and then. These kind of albums where
yes,
uh, you know, with the essence of youth somewhere in the music.
yes. Because we're all, unfortunately, well, fortunately or unfortunately, the demographic most of the time in our kind of listen to music are usually older men, right? There's a younger
Right.
audience, but it's usually, in that middle ground of 30 to 58, and sometimes you just want to let go, put the denim jacket on, let the hairband out like you lovely hair, and just get going for it, right? And
Exactly.
yeah, and there's times for that in this world, and that's so much more these days, Niels, than ever before. We need escapism. We need, but also need quality, and your album is quality, mate. It's not a throwaway. It's not something you're gonna,
No.
no. You go back to it quite comfortably and still hear something different every time you go back. And I think that's a key to success.
Yeah, I
You
was
know.
very, very happy to hear this.
Mm.
It's exactly what we wanted or how we wanted the album to resonate with people. And if it is discovering your long lost or semi lost youth or whatever, or if it's just whatever it is that you feel when you're listening to it, but definitely this kind of smiling factor or fun
Oh
factor.
yes, mate.
And
Exactly right. Exactly right. Because I listen to everything, and sometimes you get the end of something, you go, oh, I'm way down. This is great, but I'm way down. Like, oh yeah, I know. But then you know what I mean? And then you go and put yours on, and you go, yeah, right. The day starts. Here we go. You know, bounce into the day with it, sort of thing. And
yeah.
but and I don't want to belittle it. I'm not trying to belittle what it is because
No, no, no.
but it's
I
what it
I
makes me
get you.
feel like. Yeah.
You're preaching to the choir here. I
Yeah.
understand exactly, and this is the kind of thing. For me, when I started recording vocals for this album, I just came off a tour. Naturally, you're kind of tired
Mm.
afterwards, but I got to work immediately after I came home from the tour and just started recording vocals for this. So before on the day that I started recording vocals, I was like, okay, I gotta psych myself up here a little bit. What do I do? So I just put on some some old Judas Priest, and I just
Oh,
put on the new Judas Priest, the Invincible
oh,
Shield
brilliant
album, which
album.
was
Brilliant
released.
album.
Yeah,
Oh,
and then you just hear, for me vocally, you just hear a 70 plus singer who's just still going in there like he's,
I know.
25,
Oh
with the same
man.
kind of attitude and enthusiasm as a young singer or as he's himself. That is, his voice has obviously changed over the years and everything, but
Mm,
the attitude is exactly the same, and the gusto and everything. So I knew that this was the perfect thing for me to psych me up for my recording,
brilliant.
was just
Yeah,
to hear,
brilliant.
that here's a 72 or 73-year-old guy who just completely knocks it out of the park with the same kind of youthful brilliance and
Yes.
enthusiasm and attitude. I was like, okay, now it's time for me to go. It's the perfect way of pushing myself for kicking off my recordings of this album.
Yeah, and your vocals are fantastic on this album. I mean, they always are good, mate. I've never listened to an album that you've done and gone, gosh, what's he doing? They're always fantastic. But it's just, as I said about the beginning of the interview, there's something magical about this particular one. It seemed, like it has a sparkle, as I mentioned before, which sometimes you don't, as I often don't. I mean, it's a strange word to use for music, it's a sparkle, but it feels sparkly in my ears.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and 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 I think that's due to you feel, I mean, I listen to this album and you feel free. Like you listening to you sing, you feel like you've just been free. Like there's no restraint on you. You're just letting go and sailing with the words and the melody. And I think that's a kudos to you, man, because it's a skill lost, long lost, I think.
Right. It's
Mm,
also interesting that you say this because usually this album vocally was a little less planned than some of our other albums. So, a lot of the like ad-lib stuff and all the endings of the songs where I do some ad-lib stuff is none of it was planned. I just left it open and let's see what happens when I start recording it. And for maybe the previous albums, I've sort of mapped it out more, at
mm,
least. And for this one, it's like, okay, let's just see what happens in the moment. And I think it's, that sort of spontaneous edge uh, will always be very present on this album for that particular reason, because it
yeah,
feels like it was in the moment because it actually was.
yeah.
Uh, so
It paid
yeah,
off, mate. It
that's
paid off. It paid
as
off.
long as you are inspired. I mean, sometimes it's difficult if you
Mm.
sometimes you need to plan things in advance because
Yes.
you know it depends. But if you have that kind of spontaneous creative edge, then go for it. And usually it just pays off because it feels so organic and in the moment.
Well, creation is difficult, man. All creation is painful. All creation is difficult, and I think, for me anyway. Um, and if you can have the people behind you and the confidence to do what you just did on that album, it maybe not for everyone's going to pick it up, but I picked it up. I heard it. It felt free. It felt like you
It's what it
you
was. It's what
let
it was.
go, and it's a joy. And I think that's the difference. It's a joy because you listen to it and you are soaring. There's a real soar, like a real bombast to it,
Right.
and without sound. Some people do that, and you can tell they're trying hard with it. This didn't feel that way at all, man. It felt free, and yeah, Soul Survivor, Phoenix, just brilliant, mate. Really, really good. And more of the same, please. I know it's going to be hard to do that, but more of the same, please. Keep us young, Niels. Keep us young, yeah.
That we'll make it into our main mission.
Yes,
Uh,
yes, that's the way.
let's keep people young.
That's the way. Keep us
Yeah,
young. God, we get crushed down by life far too much. Be able to put on-
that's
put on an
true.
album, put on an album on, and feel the spirit of rock and roll again is so nice. It's
Yeah,
so
I
it's
agree.
so refreshing in this day and age.
Absolutely,
These young people don't.
absolutely.
Young people have no idea because they just.
No,
But
no.
as you
They
you know,
sit with their phones and do
uh,
their the Gen Z stuff. They have no clue
Oh,
what real
no
life
idea, mate.
is,
No, mate.
what real life is about.
No, no. Wait till they get to our age and then go, oh, what album could I buy to make myself feel younger? And hopefully they'll go, this one. Like,
Exactly.
oh, mate. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for chinwagging with me. It was been a great chat. Really love the album. I hope
I
that
can tell.
oh man, I did. And it came out on the 14th, I believe, didn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, Valentine's Day, good day for it to come out. And
exactly.
yeah, so it's only fresh, so people can grab it easily. Find you on all streaming platforms, I'm sure. And
Yes,
hopefully,
indeed.
if you're in Europe and in America, see you live soon. That would be good, wouldn't it? If you're over
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Tour this
Listen,
album.
I love being down under.
Mm,
It's one of my favorite places of all places.
yeah.
So I want to come back, and we in Dynasty want to come to Australia for the first
Oh,
time and play.
mate,
And
you should, because the audience will love
yeah,
you, mate.
yeah,
Love you. Like, there's a whole scene here that's just like that loves your stuff. Like it would go. It would sail. So um hopefully we do get to see you.
yeah.
Um
We'll get on it.
yeah, yeah. And good luck with the album. I hope it smashes it. I hope that you get a
Yeah,
good response as good a response as it deserves. And I hope that you tour with it and enjoy it. And thank you for making me feel 16 again, man. I appreciate that sincerely.
that's that was definitely our pleasure.
I sincerely mean it. Thank you
And
very
we'll
much.
continue to keep try to keep everybody young.
That's
And
it, man. That's it.
yeah,
That's the way. Even when I'm 8 years old, I'll be playing this kind of music. So it keep me young, man. Thank you. All right, man.
fantastic.
Take it easy. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You
Thanks
too,
for
man.
yeah. Thanks for coming on.
No, it was my pleasure.
All
Sorry.
right, cheers, man.
All right. See you next time.
See you next time, man.
Bye.